Now, I want to go over to the Phillies, okay? Your team, your town, your Philadelphia Phillies, because I'm not excited. And I can't lie to you, and I will not lie to you. And I don't think I've ever lied to you as a viewing audience or a listening audience. I tell you when I feel really good about a team, and I tell you when I feel bad about a team. And I feel genuine apathy when it comes to the Phillies. Will I take my family there? Yes. I love Citizens Bank Park, and I love going to baseball games. And my kids really enjoy it. And so I will go, and they will get my money, but they won't get my heart. It's going to take a lot for the Phillies to get my heart this year. I don't think this was a good offseason. I don't think that Jesus Luzardo changes things fundamentally for this team. I don't think that Max Kepler changes things fundamentally for this team. I don't think that the Phillies are the best team in the National League East as currently constituted. I certainly don't think that they're the best team in the National League. Now, I may be willing to adjust my National League East take once I see how they look in spring training. But as things are set up right now, I go, all right, the rotation is really good. I don't know if it's great, but it's really good. Zach Wheeler is here. Christopher Sanchez, you better hope and pray that your former number 4 starter can be a guy who could essentially be a number 2, which he was a lot last year. Then you have Aaron Nola, this very overpaid third guy in your rotation. Luzardo probably becomes your number 4. Ranger Suarez is maybe your 5. You can shuffle Sanchez, Suarez, and Luzardo wherever you want. But on paper, that's a really good rotation. So I feel okay about it. Now, would I be more excited if the Phillies had gone out and gotten a top-end starter? Yes, there were multiple available. Once again, the Phillies did not ultimately land any of them. So there's a certain level of disappointment that I feel in my heart when it comes to the rotation. But it really wasn't the rotation's fault that things fell apart like they did in the postseason. And the bullpen, I have a hard time getting myself totally worked up about the bullpen, except Estevez. You went and you got him. He's gone. A couple other guys left. The bullpens are always temperamental. You can have what looks on paper at the start of a season as a lights-out bullpen that shits the bed. You can also have a bullpen at the start of the season that looks like a very underwhelming group that somehow gels, and they turn into a really great bullpen. So that's like the ultimate X factor. I never know how to evaluate bullpens. So that kind of is what it is. My problem is on the offensive side, though. Like, this lineup is what shit the bed multiple years in a row and ultimately cost you the opportunity to get back to a World Series, to win a World Series. And I don't think they did enough to fix it. Kepler is an okay signing. That's it. He's okay. Like, that's all. Nick Castellanos' name was bantied about in trade rumors. Alec Boehm's name was bantied about in trade rumors. They're both here. Trey Turner remains here. I'm at kind of a little bit of a loss, guys. Like, that's honestly where I'm at. So much of the team is unchanged, and I once again worry, like, did they go into another offseason being worried about the vibes remaining immaculate? Because I got to be honest, I don't give a shit about this team's vibes if they can't go out and win. If the bats go cold again in October, I don't give a shit if they like each other, love each other, are, total kismet. Like, I don't care. I'm going to sound like I'm on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I need somebody who can push these guys. I need somebody who can go in and challenge their teammates and get their heads back on straight when they hit the skids. Let us not forget, the first half of the Phillies season in 2024 was spectacular, setting them up for a potential record-breaking season. They went to London, and when they came back, the wheels fell off in a big way. They roughly played 500 baseball, and they whimpered out. I mean, remember, they had the chance to put their foot on the throats of the Mets and the Braves. They failed to do so, and the Mets one really came back to hurt them because the Mets curb stomped them in the playoffs. I have a hard time looking at this roster that has mostly remained unchanged again and say, oh yeah, this year is going to be different. I don't buy it. I don't see it. Now, do I think the Phillies were as good as the first half of 2024 played out? I think they're really good. I don't think that they were that good. Do I think that they're as bad as a 500 team that they finished and then that piss-poor effort they put out against the Mets in the playoffs? No. I think they're somewhere in the middle. But the problem is somewhere in the middle likely doesn't get the job done. I mean, the Mets are the Mets, and we can all kind of laugh at the Mets, But they did go out and add the biggest free agent in Juan Soto, which is going to help their lineup tremendously. The Braves remain the Braves. It's going to be a tough division to win. It's going to be a tough division to pick up wins consistently in. It could be a bloodbath in the NL East, which then means you might not be in a great position to get one of those wild cards. There are going to be other divisions that are going to be easier to pick up wins against bottom-feeding teams. The NL East doesn't really have that right now. So as spring training begins, I find myself ever so slightly worried. Just a little bit. Just a wee bit. And in fairness, I'm allowed to feel this way because I've tended to be kind of spot on about a lot of this stuff. I said to you guys last year, the lack of killer instinct is what scared me. And it ultimately came back to bite them in the ass multiple times. I also have another slight concern, which is that Andrew Painter is a guy that they were they remain very much committed to. And Andrew Painter is a guy that they have essentially made untouchable in trade talks, if rumors are to be believed. Devin Caney put out yesterday that Painter told her he's about 6 weeks behind the normal annual schedule for the Phillies. So in his mind and physically, he's ramping up. So right now kind of feels like January to him instead of February. Where is Andrew Painter going to land? I don't know. Now, ultimately, he could be a top end of the rotation guy. Maybe he's the heir apparent to Zach Wheeler. I have no idea. But I will tell you that they better hope that the gamble of not including him in potential trades that could have helped last year's team get over that hump and get back to a World Series, they better hope that the Painter gamble, if you want to call it that, pays off. And in fairness, it might. If he ends up developing into being a number one starter in the National League, then cool. Then it was a good call. And then he is one of those very rare guys that you make untradeable who ends up panning out and maybe even exceeding expectations. But I have a really hard time right now feeling like, oh, yeah, the Phillies, I'm all in. I'm not all in. I'll give them my money because I really like Citizens Bank Park, and I enjoy a nice time out at a baseball game, and I occasionally like the dollar dogs when they have them available. And my kids love that park. My wife loves that park. We're going to be down at Citizens Bank Park multiple times this summer. But you're going to have a hard time getting me to look at this through red and white pinstriped glasses. I'm not there.